Alright, welcome back to the Pitskill GT3 Open Championship. We are on round 7. I had to miss the last round, round 6 at Silverstone, because I just did not have time that week to make the video. And this week I am a little tight for time again, so I won't be able to do all of the graphics and things that I normally do, but I'll still talk you through the race. So as usual, let's take a look at who qualified in the top 10. Qualifying in first position, as usual, we've got Fredriksson. He is currently leading the championship by quite a margin, but he hasn't actually mathematically won it yet, so we'll see if he can add to his tally of points today. In P2, we've got Antrax in the Mustang, and I think this is the first round, or maybe the second round that he's done in this championship. We certainly haven't seen him much, if he has done any. In P3, we've got Yotaro, who is also in a Mustang, and he's currently sat in P10 in the championship. In fourth position, we've got Bromfield in another Mustang, different livery to usual, but yeah, we've seen him quite a few times in the previous rounds, and he's currently P15 in the championship. Qualifying in fifth position, we've got Balazs, who is continuing his trend of doing a different livery for every track, and I can't really work out what half the stuff on this livery is. All I know is that on the side, we've got Tom Scott saying, "Welcome to the most deadly corner," or the most deadly T1 in all of sim racing. I think that's what it says. But yeah, he is currently second in the championship. In P6, we've got Nilsson, who is currently in 8th position in the championship, and he's qualified quite a bit higher than he usually does here. In P7, we've got Tomatoes, and despite only doing 3 rounds so far, he's actually currently sat in 5th in the championship, because he did have 2 podiums out of those 3 rounds. In P8, we've got Amy Lavoie. We saw her in one of the previous rounds. She has been doing most of the rounds of the championship, I think, but she's usually in split 2. But this week she's bumped up into split 1 and qualified pretty high up in P8. Qualifying in 9th position, we've got Mandel in the Unicorn Lamborghini, and he is currently 6th in the championship. And then the final car in the top 10 is the AMG of Vegahaupt, and he is not within the top 20 in the championship at the moment. That is all I can tell you. But he's qualified P10 here in split 1, so we'll see what he can do today. And normally this is the point where I would show you where I qualified, but like I said, I was very busy last week, so I didn't actually do this race, so you won't get to see me finishing in 14th place as usual. Today, I'll let somebody else have that spot. But yeah, let's see how the race went. So we are waiting for the green flag to be waved, and there it is. We are heading down to T1, the very deadly T1, as Balazs' livery reminded us in the intro. And speaking of Balazs, he seems to be the one on the move here, getting a really good start. I think he's already gained 2 places here by the looks of things. Goes past Yotaro, past Bromfield, and he's going to go into the back of Fredriksson. I think just gave him a tiny tap there. Takes out the race leader. We can also see Heusinkveld off in the background, somebody else taking the escape road. Balazs now drops back into what's actually P4. I think just off the bottom of the screen, Antrax has now inherited the lead. We'll take another look at that incident and a couple of other things that happened there in a second, but for now let's just see what happens down into this first chicane, or second chicane, sorry. We already saw what happened in the first chicane, a bit of death. And I can see a few people steaming in at the background there. Potentially more death. Yep, more death in the second chicane. This track on lap 1 is just a death magnet, which again is why Balazs' livery says that. Let's take a look back at some of those incidents. So this is on board with Balazs. We see he got a really good start here. Gonna nip past Yotaro, who's in the same car, so I'm not sure why he had such a speed advantage there. He's kind of got this move done, but maybe just gets a little greedy on the brakes, hits both P1 and P2. Antrax going across the runoff there. Bromfield does the same. I think Bromfield probably benefited the most out of that. He gained 2 or 3 positions there. Yotaro also comes back past Balazs. So yeah, Balazs now sits in P4. We also saw at this first chicane, I think it was Heusinkveld, who we're watching now, we also saw him spin around. So let's see what happens here. He's going to dive down the inside of quite a few people here. Gets past Vegahaupt in the AMG. He's got a spinner right behind him. His spinner going to give him a little tap. He does indeed. It's just one of those unfortunate incidents where just the tiniest tap, for some reason at this chicane... Oh, yep, it's going to be gone. We'll ignore that. Yeah, the tiniest tap there just sends you flying. Now let's take a look at what happened at the second chicane. Nilsson's going to come steaming in here just a little too fast for lap 1 with all his cars ahead. Again, make a very small contact with Tomatoes, but just completely shafts him. Aside from Bromfield, the other big gainer there was Mandel. We see him steaming past Amy Lavoie there. I guess Amy was playing it super safe because there's no way Mandel had that much overspeed, but now she gets back into the fight a little bit. We're going to see Heusinkveld spin in the background, Fredriksson off on one side, Nilsson off on the left. And yeah, Mandel here, I think, gained 4 or 5 positions from all that chaos. Now, if we turn our attention back to the live race, we can see Mandel at the very front of this train. Then we've got Amy Lavoie. Then we've got Vegahaupt in the AMG. He's also made up quite a few positions. We've also got Kruk in the Jaguar, who has a big drift there, a big slide, does well to hold that. I think he did. Yeah, he held it. But that is going to make him vulnerable to an attack from Spinner now in the purple Ferrari. They're going to go side by side into the Parabolica, if I want to actually know the names of the corners on this track. The Jaguar of Kruk is going to have the inside line. Spinner giving him plenty of room, and I think, yeah, now just going to rocket out of the corner. The Jag is pretty good on the straights, as we see Putman in the background having a bit of a wiggle there. That might make him vulnerable to the Honda of Del Rio. Let's take a look at replay and see what actually happened there, and if Del Rio did get past. This is Putman just up ahead. Seemed like he took the corner fine, and then just a little greedy with the throttle on the exit. Easily done there. There's a bit of a slide on, and then, yeah, that's pretty academic for Del Rio to get past. On board with Lopez here, who's chasing down Spinner. Spinner goes defensive, although thinks about it again and goes to the outside line. Lopez going to try and just spook him into a mistake, and I think he's done that. He's made him go a little deep and then just driven into the back of him. That is one way of doing the overtake. I think that might have actually cost Spinner another position as well, but we'll see from this angle. You see the Mustang just kind of feinting to the inside, but it gives Spinner something to think about, and yeah, he just outbrakes himself a tiny bit, and then gets a little wiggle on the exit, and the Mustang just plows into him. Spinner does well to hold on to the car at all there, but he does lose another place. Does he lose two? No, he just loses one. We'll keep it with this little train here of Putman, Spinner, Del Rio, and then I think that's Kruk up ahead. No, it's not. It's Lopez in the Mustang, as the Mustang goes off onto the grass a little there. It's slightly wide. I think that is going to give the Honda of Del Rio a chance to get alongside down the straight here. It is. Del Rio looks to the inside. Again, just trying to give the driver ahead something to think about, even if you can't really overtake. As we see Spinner going potentially off into the gravel there. Let's have another look and see what happened to Spinner. Did he just outbrake himself? No, he got tapped in the back from Putman. He manages to hold it pretty well, to be honest. This is quite a tricky place to rejoin, though. Luckily for him, Fredriksson is also on a bit of a weird line. Now we're on board with Vegahaupt in the AMG, trying to catch up with Amy Lavoie. For P6 they are fighting for at the moment, and you see the gang of cars up ahead, not too far ahead either. They are probably going to get a good slipstream down this long straight. Monza, of course, famous for its basically zero corners and just lots of straights. And I think that is going to allow Vegahaupt to get up the inside. It is. He's going to have the inside line here into Parabolica. It can kind of work out on either line here. Sometimes the car on the outside benefits, sometimes the car on the inside benefits. Most of the time the inside line is going to be better, but yeah, surprisingly sometimes it can go around the outside. This time though, Vegahaupt makes it work down the inside, and he's up into P6. Now Mandel is actually keeping up with Balazs here. I thought he kind of just gained a few positions from everyone else dying at the start, but it seems like he's actually got the pace to keep up with the front runners as well. Quite surprising to me, to be honest, as Balazs doesn't take quite as nice of a line through here. Mandel going to get a better exit, but just like at every other track, the Mustang is going to be strong on the straights with the acceleration. I don't think it has the highest top speed, so overall at this track it doesn't have like a huge advantage, because people can still slipstream it as you go down these really long straights, but on these slightly shorter flat out zones, I think the Mustang is going to have a bit of a benefit still and be very hard to pass. Yeah, Mandel doing well to keep up here until he just clipped that sausage. Another Lamborghini that we want to keep our eyes on is Fredriksson. Of course, he was P1 and got murdered at this very corner. And speaking of murder at this corner, there's some for you. Heusinkveld and Brad having a little bit of a bash there. Is that going to allow Fredriksson to get past? There's just enough room for him. I think he is going to get past. He's slowly clawing back these positions that he was kind of forced out of by Balazs tapping him on the first corner of the first lap. Let's see what actually happened there between Heusinkveld and Brad. Brad hits the car in front and tries to take avoiding action, and then gets walloped by Heusinkveld. Not really sure why Heusinkveld was that deep into the corner. I guess he made a similar mistake. But yeah, that is what eventually allows Fredriksson to nip past as well. And somebody who benefited from all of that was Don, who nips past one car there, and then I think he also gets Putman here. Putman potentially just recovering from the little tap in the back that Brad gave him. Well, they are going to have to go side by side all the way down into the second chicane, so we'll see if Don can actually make this move happen. We'll have the inside line. No, he doesn't actually. Putman already gets back past, so Putman covering off the inside now. Don going to sit on the outside. Can he make it happen through the chicane? Very hard to do from the outside. Don't think it's going to happen. No, Putman keeps the place. You see quite a train forming behind them as well now. When we come back to the live footage, we can keep it with this train, which has now got quite a few people in it. There's a couple of separate carriages forming, but it is a big train nonetheless. Cars spreading out everywhere. Can they all make it through Ascari? We're going to go too wide, potentially. I thought it was going to be Heusinkveld on Don, but it's actually going to be Fredriksson pressuring Don here. And make it past. Fredriksson, again, should be a much faster driver, having qualified P1. Shouldn't find it too difficult to carve through the field, but if your car is not good on the straights, then you're going to really struggle at this track. It's actually Don trying to attack Heusinkveld here, trying to go around the outside. Like I said, sometimes this can work on this corner. Heusinkveld gives him a bit of room. And they're going to have to now go side by side all the way down the long straight into T1 with Fredriksson looming at the back as well there. Is he going to try and be brave and go through the middle of them here? I don't think so. No, he's not. And Heusinkveld ends up staying ahead. Now Fredriksson going to be able to get past Don though, as long as he doesn't outbrake himself into Heusinkveld's rear end. He doesn't, plays that perfectly and gains himself another position. Up at the very front of the field, well not the very front because that is Antrax who is just miles ahead of everyone, but for P2 we've actually got quite a battle here between the two Mustangs. We've got Heusinkveld chasing down Bromfield, and Heusinkveld seems to gain a lot of slipstream here. Maybe this was why Balazs gained a lot at the start. Maybe the Mustangs just give people a really good slipstream behind them. Thinks better of going for a move there. Although it has made Bromfield take a slightly worse line through that chicane. Can he pop it out and now make an attack into the second chicane? Doesn't look like he's going to be close enough. Again though, maybe with the slipstream he can make something happen. He can just keep up towards this second chicane. He is gaining slightly. Is Bromfield going to have to defend this into the second chicane? He is. He's going to stick to the inside line, hopefully not swing back across as some people do. Leaves just enough room to the outside of the track. And manages to keep hold of the position. Back with this little train that Fredriksson is involved in. He's already got past Don as we saw just a minute ago. Now he's going to try and attack Heusinkveld. Again, going to have the entire long-ass straight to get a slipstream. It's pretty rough here when someone's tucked in behind you and you just have to sit there and just wait. We'll see if Heusinkveld decides to go defensive or if he just accepts that this is a much faster driver coming through. There's not really any point fighting it too hard, just going to cost himself time. And indeed, he does just allow the pass to happen. We've still got Brad chasing down Spinner. Spinner had a few little incidents so far. And they're going to come through the Ascari chicane. And Brad is going to just launch himself into the sky, losing another position there. That is the BMW of Skojecic coming past. We saw Nilsson involved in that incident on the second chicane on lap 1, where seemingly it was his fault. It seemed like he just outbraked himself a bit and went into the side of Tomatoes. Now he's trying to recover some place. He's going to go side by side with Borowick through the T1 chicane. No contact there. Nicely done by both of them, but that is him back up into P19 now. And somebody else who's still trying to gain back positions from the lap 1 drama is Fredriksson. He's right on the back of Putman's Porsche. Again, you would think can get past him fairly quickly. He's feinting to the inside here. Not normally an overtaking spot. I thought it was going to be a feint, but it was an actual move. Again, Putman probably just thinking there's no point fighting this. May as well just let the faster driver through and not kind of risk a contact or cost yourself loads of time. But Putman does now have to worry about the rest of the gang that are actually fighting him for position and are around his pace. And that is Heusinkveld in the Ferrari, who, again, closing up a lot down the straights. People seem to be getting so much slipstream down this straight. I don't remember it being quite that strong. They are going to door bang. This seems to be quite a common theme with Heusinkveld on a straight. Does like to rub people. I'm not sure whose fault that one was, really. Maybe just a little bit of rubbing as racing. But Putman now potentially also going to lose a position to Don. But maybe not. Maybe not. Don falls back in line. So now that things have settled down a little bit, let's take some stock of what's going on at the front. At the very front, we've got Antrax, who was gifted the lead by Balazs murdering most of the other front runners. He is about 3 seconds ahead of Bromfield in P2, who still has Heusinkveld right on his ass. These guys, for the entire race pretty much after T1, have been bumper to bumper. Yeah, Heusinkveld only about 3/10 behind now, I think. Then we've got Balazs in P4, who's closely followed by Vegahaupt. We've also got Mandel in the Lamborghini just behind. Then we've got Amy Lavoie in the Porsche in P7, and then Kruk in P8 in the Jaguar. I think the only Jag in this grid. And we turn our attention back to Fredriksson, who's already up into P11, which is not bad going after being P21, I guess, dead last at the first corner. He is now hunting down Del Rio. And looks like he's gaining, again, a lot down the straight with the slipstream. Del Rio's going to have the inside line into Parabolica, though. We'll see if that works out this time. So far, I think it has always worked out for everyone being on the inside, but I would imagine with Fredriksson being generally a much faster driver, this might be one of the times that we see it work out around the outside, but no, it's not. So hard to put the power down when you're on that outside line because it just gets so slippery there. But now he's going to probably just be able to nip past into T1. We'll see if Del Rio goes defensive. He does a little, but Fredriksson still finds enough room to nip past down the straight. And I think this is going to be a fairly straightforward pass for Fredriksson here. Again, you would kind of think Del Rio's not going to bother fighting this too much, and yeah, he doesn't. Lets Fredriksson past, and Fredriksson is now up into P10. And someone else who was trying to make a move into T1 is going to be Spinner. As we see, he makes Don go defensive. Don and Spinner both going to have to be careful not to outbrake themselves into Putman here, as Spinner very nearly does. Don stays alongside, but not quite enough. Might be able to get a better exit. He is going to, going to get a better exit and come straight back past Spinner here. Yeah, he's already back past him, so Spinner might be able to make something happen into the second chicane, but probably not going to be close enough here. These guys, though, trading positions quite often now. This little gang behind Putman, as we see Spinner already catching back up and thinking about a move here. Again, might be able to just spook Don, and he does indeed spook him off the track. But now the BMW of Skacechik also getting in on this. This might be 3 wide into Lesmo 1. No, just going to be 2 wide. Don and Spinner still battling for this. Nice, fair, respectful racing so far, and I think Spinner is going to finally get the move done. Yep, Don doesn't try anything silly into that second Lesmo. And yeah, Spinner up into P14. And we're back with Fredriksson trying to pick off yet another target. This time it's going to be the Mustang of Lopez. We haven't seen much of Lopez. Didn't qualify within the top 10. He's going to outbrake himself, though, and have to go across the runoff. We would hope going to have a little bit of a lift here and just let Fredriksson kind of catch back up, or potentially even hand the position over. Because, yeah, he did just completely outbrake himself. But maybe not. Maybe he's not going to lift at all. He's just going to cut the corner and just accept that he gained like a second there by messing up the corner. I mean, maybe he got a track cut. Maybe he thinks that's penalty enough. But, yeah, Fredriksson already gaining again. And I think it's probably not going to be long before he gets past. Yeah, I mean, he's going to potentially get past into Lesmo 1 here. Not sure if that was finally a lift from Lopez in the Mustang, or if he just messed up the exit. But either way, Fredriksson gets past. And back with the battle between Yiltalo and Bromfield for P2. This is the closest they've been for a while now. Yiltalo pops out to the inside. Not going to be quite close enough, but Bromfield outbrakes himself. But so does Yiltalo. They both go off track there. Not sure who, if either of them, is going to want to hand anything back there, because they kind of both made a similar mistake. In the end, it's Bromfield who ends up losing out a lot there. So Yiltalo up into P2 from a pretty weird overtake. And this has also allowed Balazs and Vegahaupt to catch up a lot. Bromfield now looking like he potentially could go from P2 to maybe P5 here if he doesn't play this well. And speaking of P5, let's ride on board with the current P5, which is Vegahaupt chasing down Balazs. He's got that god-awful Tom Scott image on the rear bumper as well, apparently. As we see Bromfield up ahead goes a little sideways. Let's have a quick look at a replay and see how this all pans out. So Bromfield is the car up ahead. Yeah, goes very sideways on the exit of Ascari. That's going to allow Balazs past. Does Vegahaupt also get past her? That's going to be the thing. Bromfield covers off the inside, but not fully. And that is going to allow the AMG to get down the inside. And again, so far, every time, the inside line has been the one that you want in Parabolica. Bromfield leaves just enough room. And yeah, again, I think the inside line is going to be the one that you want, which is not really a surprise, but I guarantee somebody will make it work around the outside, okay? I'm sure I've done that myself before. But now the Mustang straight line speed actually going to mean that Bromfield can catch back up. But like I said, I don't think it's got the greatest top end, or it's at least just equal to the other cars. So once they get sort of 3/4 of the way down the straight, that straight line advantage is neutralized a bit. They're going to have to go side by side into the very deadly T1. Seems like they manage it without contact though. And it looks like the AMG is going to get the move done. So Vegahaupt now up into P4. A little further back in the field, we've got Heusinkveld mounting an attack against Del Rio. And Del Rio are going to have the inside. They're going to have to go through this T1 again, as we just saw. See if these guys can make it without contact. That is going to be a big hard no. They do make contact, and Heusinkveld, I'm sure, will not even notice. He's so used to rubbing doors with people. Let's see on the replay what exactly happened. To be fair, I don't think that one is on him. That one's not on him. Del Rio could have left a little more room there. But yeah, Heusinkveld going to get the place either way. However, apparently something happened. Yeah, Heusinkveld goes on the grass here. And then again? Why are we just lawn mowing? I have no idea what that was about, but it did allow Del Rio back pass as we see Putman go sideways and Spinner go into the back of him, collects Don and somebody else as well, and then just finished off for good measure. One final nail in the coffin. This was Brad's view as he came through here. Sees cars sideways and backwards everywhere. Don goes into the wall and then collects Brad a little. That was pretty grim for everyone involved. But now we are back with Vegahaupt, who's been the man on the mission so far. He's gained, well, he qualified P10. And now he's already up into P4. And he's keeping up with Balazs, which is not something I expected. As Balazs has a big old wiggle, goes off track slightly, probably got a track cut for that, and it slowed him down. But now Balazs is going to have the inside line. And like I keep saying, so far the inside line has worked out well for everyone. So he should be able to hold on to this. Vegahaupt going to have to... Well, he's kind of already ahead. In fact, I think he's made it happen already. What happened to Balazs? Where's Balazs? He's all the way back here. So yeah, there we go. I told you, eventually the outside line would work for someone. And Fredriksson has also been on a mission, gaining positions after the first lap. But I think now he's going to start to struggle, because now he's coming up to some of the faster drivers and the faster cars, especially down a straight against the Jag. He is definitely going to struggle. There is no way you're catching a Jag down a straight. Well, again, everyone seems to be benefiting a lot more from slipstream than I remember. Maybe the Ferrari just sucked at it. No, but we saw some Ferraris also benefit from slipstream. Yeah, Fredriksson going to be able to take Ascari quite a bit nicer than the Jag. We'll get a bit of a run on him here now. Seems like maybe a little bit of lag involved there as they're kind of rubber banding towards each other. Now it's going to be Fredriksson's turn to try and attack down the inside. I would have thought that the Lambo would have much better brakes and he would have been able to outbrake him a little there, but maybe just playing it a little safe after already being collected on lap 1. Doesn't want to ruin his race by doing anything silly. Now, not too much later, he's still chasing the Jag. It looked like there was just one car coming through there, but that is Fredriksson right on the rear bumper of the Jag. And the Jag, I think, also has slightly better suspension for taking some of these curbs, but overall not a good car in the corners compared to the Lambo. So Fredriksson is really tucked in behind him now. And again, he's going to have to try and go around the outside, as we just saw Vegahaupt do. Definitely not easy, but I think Fredriksson can probably do it. Again, in the better car in the corners and generally a better driver, but no, he doesn't manage to. He's going to have to tuck in behind. This is costing him quite a bit of time now. Maybe gets a better run on the exit, though, as he's actually going to peel into the pits. So probably a wise choice there. He's just getting held up by the Jag. Come into the pits, get some clear air, and then just go fast on your own. And a couple of other cars coming into the pits now as well. We've got Bromfield and Mandel. We've got quite a few people in the pits now while these guys are serving their pit stop. And it's actually Mandel that gets dropped off the jacks first, quite a bit sooner. Maybe he didn't take tyres and Bromfield took tyres. Or Bromfield had some damage to repair. But yeah, judging by that gap, I would say that is about a 5-second gap, which means that Mandel didn't take tyres. This is just a guess. I'm saying it means it, but this is just an educated guess. I would guess that Mandel didn't take tyres and Bromfield did, because that costs you 5 seconds. Now that might work out well. It obviously jumps you ahead 5 seconds, so he gains the position now, but it might screw you later on when everyone else has got fresher tyres than you. So we'll see how that plays out. As well as losing the position to Mandel, it looks like Bromfield might be about to lose the position to Fredriksson here. Again, Fredriksson a much faster driver in general, but Bromfield doesn't want to give it up, leaves just enough room. We're going to come through the chicane, and I think Fredriksson's going to get a better exit here, judging by the line that he took, but probably not going to be enough against the Mustang. We'll see if he can make anything happen into the second chicane. He's going to be real close, and at least going to have to make Bromfield think about it. We saw Bromfield go defensive earlier when someone threatened this, and he does so again, but doesn't cover it off fully. Fredriksson going to get alongside, not quite. Not quite. Thinks better of it, doesn't want to do anything stupid, like I said. Well, somehow Vegahaupt has caught up with Yotalo. He was P10 in qualifying, and now he's not only got past Balazs, he's also going to get past Yotalo here. Maybe was the contact there, potentially. But Yotalo defends it well, doesn't get put off by the nose of the AMG beam, kind of right at the apex when he wanted to turn in there. Nice driving from the pair of them, really. And another pair of drivers that have been so far well behaved while they've been battling has been Fredriksson and Bromfield, but you can see just how close Fredriksson was on the entry to Ascari there. And we saw Bromfield have an issue here earlier, and looks like again having a bit of a wiggle on the exit. Not quite enough though for Fredriksson to get alongside before Parabolica. Again, Bromfield kind of doesn't quite fully cover it off, and that's going to allow Fredriksson down the inside. Is it going to be enough? I think this time it probably is. We're side by side on the exit here, but maybe Bromfield with the Mustang power can kind of equal this back out down the long straight. We'll see what happens. They're going to have to go all the way down here. Neither of them getting a slipstream, and they seem pretty evenly matched, to be fair, at this point. Doesn't look like the Mustang does actually have that much of an advantage here, which surprises me. Again, I thought it would kind of equal out at the end of the straight. As Fredriksson goes a little deep, goes very deep, and he does do the honourable thing and actually lifts. You know, this is what I was expecting from some of the other guys earlier when they did this. But yeah, he does the honourable thing, lifts to let the Mustang back past. But then Bromfield lifts to let him back past. I have no idea what's going on here. Everyone is doing weird things today. I guess Bromfield just knows that he's the faster driver, as in Fredriksson is the faster driver, and just wants to let him pass, but kind of pointless at this point because it doesn't seem like either of them are really going to catch anyone else, really. But speaking of catching people, Heusinkveld has caught up with Lopez in the Mustang. We're going to head down into the Ascari chicane. Heusinkveld feints a little move to the inside and kills them both. Okay, they both end up in the gravel. We'll have a look at that on the replay. The Mustang actually managed to rejoin pretty nicely. So does Heusinkveld. That could have gone a lot worse. Let's have a look at the replay in slow motion because it was a very close contact by the looks of things. Yeah, Heusinkveld pops out and then I just clipped him by like a millimeter. That is pretty unfortunate, really. But yeah, I think you still got to put it on Heusinkveld. But yeah, a bit of a non-event in real life, really, that one. But in ACC physics, that kind of kills them both. Even though they did both survive, it has cost them a fair bit of time because now Del Rio and Borowick are catching them up. They're going to run down towards the Ascari chicane. They're not going to make it to the Ascari chicane because there's already contact. And also the Honda went off as well there. Let's have a look at the replay for that. So this is the Mustang. Just outbrakes himself and just goes a tiny bit deep. It didn't seem like he was actually sliding there. I think maybe just unaware that there was a car next to him, which is a bit odd. Yeah, he loses 2 positions there. And the Honda just, what, follows him off? Oh, has a little bit of a snap of his own. And yeah, then Borowick just gains 2 positions here from doing absolutely nothing. We've got Skocic chasing down Spinner here. We saw Spinner quite a lot earlier on in the race, but things have been pretty quiet for him since the pit stops, I think. But not for long, because now he's got a BMW right up his ass. And Spinner actually covering off the full inside. Most people are just kind of sat in the middle of the track here, which has let people get past. But Spinner covers it off fully. And will this result in him being able to keep the position? Probably not by the looks of things. No, that is going to be a position gain for Skocic. I'm going to have a look at a replay here for an incident that Fredriksson had at T1. Did he hit someone? No, he just outbrakes himself, goes on the curbs, but then gets hit by Bromfield. So Fredriksson's bad race gets even worse after recovering all these positions. And then we've got another replay for another Lambo at turn 1, and that's a weird one. That now, he didn't take tyres, remember, and this is the other issue with not taking tyres, is sometimes you can just die on your own, because you've just got no grip. Wegerhaupt is still chasing down Yoltalo for P2 here. There's not many laps remaining. You can see Antrax, the leader, not too far ahead of them, but, I mean, in race terms, you know, 2.5 seconds, quite a bit. But Wegerhaupt a lot closer than that to Yoltalo, right on the rear bump here as they go into Parabolica. And this should give him a bit of a decent run down into T1. As we see, Yoltalo goes wide, has a bit of a wiggle. That's going to potentially be enough now for Wegerhaupt to get past, but they're going to be side by side all the way down this long straight. Wegerhaupt's going to have the inside line. I have no idea which line is really better at T1 because the inside is better for the first part, but then worse for the second part. They have a little bit of a door bang there on the straight. And again, some more nudges. And again, these guys just can't keep their hands off each other, but it is going to be Wegerhaupt moving up into P2. A nice move there. Let's take another look at that. So it starts all the way back here in Parabolica, where he's pretty close, and I guess just spooks Yoltalo into going a tiny bit wide. Yoltalo just has a little bit of a traction issue there. Doesn't really look like much, but it's enough to let the AMG just get a bit of a head start down this long-ass straight. And the AMG not bad on acceleration and top speed either, so the Mustang doesn't have a particularly big advantage here, but you can see the Mustang is definitely gaining. They have what I thought was contact there, but I don't think it was. These ones definitely contact though. And then I think that's on Yoltalo just trying to turn in a little bit too early, given that there's a car next to him. Yeah, nice move up into P2 on the final couple of laps for Wegerhaupt. And now we've only got maybe 1 or 2 more laps to go, and Wegerhaupt goes wide. Is this going to let the Mustang of Yoltalo come straight back past? He literally has only been ahead of him for less than 1 lap at this point. I mean, I don't think the Mustang is going to be close enough, although he's gaining pretty quickly. We have seen people gain a lot with that slipstream. Yeah, look at that. Close right up, and now they're going to have to do this whole T1, T2 dance all over again. Are they going to be able to do it without contact, though? Yoltalo trying to get P2 back on these final couple of laps here. I think this might even be the last lap now. They're going to have to go side by side all the way around this long, long corner that's just flat out in every car, so it's basically not really even a corner, is it? It's just a flat out section. But they're going to head into the second chicane now. Yoltalo's got the inside. Probably going to be able to get this P2 back now if he plays this right. The Wegerhaupt plays it very well as well. No contact this time. We see Antrax still in the lead there, but coming to Lesmo 1, They're still side by side, but now the AMG just gets ahead. Is he going to go wide on the exit? No. I think he's got this secured now. Barring any mishaps in Ascari, that should be P2 secured for Vegahaupt, which is pretty mad coming from P10. But let's see how this plays out. Like I say, this is the last lap, I think, so coming into Ascari is going to probably be the only time that Yotalo's going to be able to do anything. Tries to make him go defensive and then go for the old switch back, the old fake out, but not going to be close enough. Has a bit of a slide as well, and I think that's going to be all she wrote. I don't think there's any way he's making up this gap. So the only thing we've got left to do now really is congratulate the leader, who had probably a very boring race. I don't think he saw another car the entire time. But yeah, Amtrax is going to cross the line in P1 after being gifted first position at the very start of the race, but he still managed to not make any big mistakes and capitalize on that. In P2, assuming there's no issues on the exit of this Parabolica, I think it is going to be Vegahaupt all the way from P10 to P2. Good effort by him. Followed closely in P3 by Yotalo in the Mustang. And then we've got Balazs in the ridiculous livery in P4. He's going to be feeling pretty bad about the murder at T1, I'm sure. Now, on this final lap, we've got an incident for Heusinkveld. He's getting chased by Borowick here, and he launches himself into the sky over that sausage curb. Probably going to lose 2 positions from that, I would have thought. Yep, he does indeed. But back to the people that are finishing the race right now. We've got Bromfield coming home in P5. Probably a bit disappointing for him after being in P2 for quite a bit of the race at the start. In P6, we've got Fredriksson. Good recovery from him after being dead last on the first lap. In P7, we have Mandel. Didn't see much of him, but he kept his head down and got a good result. In P8, we're going to have Amy Lavoie, who's been chased by the Jaguar of Kruk and also Nilsson, but she's going to hang on. If there was another couple of laps, might have lost that position, but she's going to hang on. So yeah, Kruk in the Jag is going to finish in P9, and then Nilsson is going to finish in P10. And because I'm tight on time this week, I'm not going to go through everyone else, I'm afraid. Sorry. So yeah, like I said, apologies for this one being a little rushed. I figured this was better than nothing, but you'll have to let me know in the comments if that was not the case. I think for driver of the day this time, it's got to be Vegahaupt, hasn't it? Qualifying in P10 and ending up on the second step of the podium. That's pretty good going. And worst driver of the day goes to Balazs, for sure. But he already knows that. He was telling us how bad he felt after the race. So yeah, let's quickly take a look at the championship standings. So after Fredriksson's pretty bad race by his standards, that is going to count as one of his drop rounds and get erased instantly. But Balazs is going to hold on to P2. Heisenberg is all the way up in P3, which surprises me. He hasn't had that many high finishes, but enough consistency and attending enough rounds to get into P3 at the moment. And in a similar vein, we've also got Mandel all the way up in P4, despite mostly having, like, you know, P8, P10, P11 finishes, like nothing crazy. But yeah, if you just turn up to all the rounds and just finish fairly consistently, you can do pretty well. Yotalo's only done 4 rounds and finds himself in P5. And Vegahaupt did actually have a P4 finish at Barcelona, which I completely forgot about. But other than that, he's missed quite a few rounds and didn't do too well in the others. But yeah, this now sees him up into P12 after getting a podium today. But like I said, I've got to kind of rush this video out the door, so I will shut up now. And yeah, hopefully see you guys again next week for the wet Valencia race, which is going to be painful, I'm sure. And also, the next video that you'll see on Monday will be quite a long video from a race that we did at the Nordschleife. We haven't been there for ages. That was also a wet race. And we're in the Porsche Cups, which don't have traction control. So yeah, that was pure pain, but I think it's a really funny video. We tried to speak German, and yeah, me and Balazs do not speak very good German. I captioned it all with like English translations of all the German that we were talking, which is mostly nonsense, and it took forever to edit. That's one of the reasons why this video has to be rushed. So yeah, I'm hoping you guys will enjoy that video because I think it's one of the funnier ones that we've done for a while. So yeah, hopefully you'll check that one out.